Welcome to another day of podcast, the emergency meeting. This is the boardroom, and we are here. Uncle Roy, welcome into the show. Wishes, Ngozo, I see you. Aina Praise, I see you. Geoff, man, on the, do we call that ones and twos? Yeah, I see you. And this is the emergency meeting on Podcastmalawi. Timaneno titayaga moto tabwera tilipo, and here we are. And this is the boardroom. This is where we talk about hot issues. Nkhani zimene timakhala nthawi zambiri this generation tikuzisiya banja, but I'm telling you, those are the issues that are affecting this generation, and they are going to affect the generation that is to come. We are talking about anatu aifeyo amene tikubereka panopa. Atakhala affected with a lot of things to do with governance, a lot of things to do with ndale zathu, the economy and all that. And we've created this space ndicholinga chonena kuti tizikhala tumakambirana nkhani zimenezo ndimapereka maganizo athu. Today I've got a special guest, my guy, in the boardroom. Today we have the Minister of Agriculture, Right Honourable Sam Kawale. Welcome, sir, to the emergency meeting.
Well, thank you very much. The emergency meeting, the boardroom.
Yeah.
Now, to set the ball rolling, the Gawelanedo Maudindo.
Okay.
Are you the board chairperson? I'm the board chairperson. Who's the secretary?
I think I am the board. Ngozo mule mama minister.
Yes.
Aro him tamangise my refreshment. I am the chair here. I am the chair. So yeah, welcome, sir. It's really an honor to have you here. And panoba titangoyamba timakhala tokha. And we were frustrated, we were angry at a lot of things. And anthu ambiri akhala maduza kuti no, you know what? Anthu amene mwina mumapsera mitima awasali kutali. They are right here in our country. And it would be good if you have them on the podium, if you have them in the boardroom to speak about these issues that you're worried about. And with that, tinaona kuti so we want to say thank you because of gracing our podcast with your presence today.
You're most welcome.
And we are looking forward to having some good conversations about your life, about your ministry, about where you're coming from and all that.
Sure.
I want to understand kuti kulibwanji kumuzi kwa anthu amene mukwayimirira, the people that you're representing, the people of Dowa, and I think I can say kunena kuti you are way of doing things as a member of parliament. I think it has been different to me and maybe to other people also who look at things. I don't know what was your understanding of the role as a member of parliament representing the people, and how you're going into that now as a member of parliament.
Great. It's a loaded question.
Yeah.
Ikufunika ma episode atatu wa program.
Okay, we're gonna have a series.
Yeah, but first of all, I think fusolo likuchokera pa the fact yoti anthu ambiri munasa kudziwa kuti ndine member of parliament.
Okay.
Akhoza kumadziwa kuti mwina ndine minister of agriculture ngati ndipangira introduce. Koma before becoming the minister of agriculture ndikuchokeraso kudera lina kumene ndili member of parliament. Kumeneku ndakhala ndikupanga represent anthu constituency dzina lake Dowa North East constituency imene mapanga cover TA Msakambewa. Ndakhala ndili member of parliament for 11 years.
11 years now.
First time a member of parliament.
2 terms now.
2 terms.
Okay.
2014 mpana 2019 kenabo re-elected 2019 uzafika panopa. 11 very exciting years. I've enjoyed every single moment of it. And zikuoneka kuti zikhala ngati tikupanga ko zinthu za nzeru pang'ono. Chifukwa 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks, tinali ndi ma primary election. Kumene overwhelmingly andipatsa so mandate ina. Kuti ndikapange represent.
That's anthu
akuchipani tsopano. Kuti ndiapange represent ngati member of parliament. Tikapita kuma general elections. Koma nthawi zambiri ukapita kuma primary election pali madera ena umachita odziwiratu kuti awa ndi ma stronghold ya chakuti ena independent and so on. Koma chimene chondisangalatsa ndi chakuti anthu ambiri mwina sanamve kuti kwathu kwachitika ma primary election chifukwa chakuti good news doesn't travel fast enough.
Okay.
Pakanakhala kuti takhapana zapangidwa
it could have been everywhere. Yeah.
Koma the fact yakuti a lot of people samadziwa kuti I have won the primary elections. It means kuti zinaenda bwino kwambiri.
Was it an opposed or you had people?
Panali anthu ena ma contestant atatu amene anabwera and they had all the space to campaign, sitina kanize,
sitina malire,
chilichonse
kusintha ma delegates
kunalibe chifukwa pakanakhala kuti pali zovuta zina zake. You could have actually seen it in the social media.
Of course.
We now officially complaining apa and so on. Koma no, I'm grateful kuti it just shows kuti kwa ineyo politics is not a place where tikapange zidani.
True.
Kapena tisokoneze zinthu mudera. Koma no, it's a service. Kwa anthu. Ngati anthu sakukufuna osakakamira. Ngati anthu akukufuna you work with them.
Exactly. Because as I was saying, I've seen you I think it was the second term or early second term that when you meet the people in the community, you could write a report on your Facebook page. You could explain today I was meeting the areas and this is what we were discussing and all that, which I found quite new and interesting, and also thinking in those lines, I think this is what we are supposed to be doing as a member of parliament. Where did it come from, like with you knowing kuti it's not everybody in the sake of member of parliament who does that?
So choyamba working in the community sindinayambe chifukwa cha position ya member of parliament. Iyi ndi phase ina ya moyo wanga. Ndinali ndi obviously mafeza ngono ndili ana ku school kupita ku college. After college ndinayamba phase ina yokagwira ntchito mu office koma kuyambira 2009 ndi pamene ndinayamba phase ina yokagwira ntchito ku community. Ndinatopa ndi kukhala mu office kupanga zina zoti sizimandipatsa fulfillment moyo mwanga. Ndiye ndinadza panga realize kuti I think I can get more fulfillment in my life if I actually see one person's life transforming. That's why ndinapanga resign. I was getting an extremely I had a very good job, very good package. The Plan Malawi.
You didn't go to politics for money?
No, I didn't. Because if I wanted money, I would have stayed with Plan Malawi and work in the NGO and so on. Komano, I resigned. I was offered double the pay. I refused. I said, no, let me go kumudzi. So kumudzi kumene kuja ndi kumene ndinakapeza satisfaction kwambiri. So because I went there to serve the people, behind me kunali anthu amene amandipanga support. Ndiye pamafunika ndapatse feedback. Koma ndinachitenga ngati opportunity yoti ndipangeso inspire anthu ena kuti they can also go and make a difference in people's lives. Ndiye being in the media sikuti ndinayamba nditapanga join politics. Ndinayamba even before joining politics. I think Facebook page yanga, if I were to go back, I think I joined 2007. That's when I created a Facebook account. Ndiye kwamba pamene popo ndinayamba tsopano post my journey, my life. Zimene ndikupanga, how I'm helping people. We have free medical services. We do sports, free water systems. We do farming. Zose naziyamba kale.
Notice into zozichita prior to campaign period.
No, actually,
because we know kuti culturally kwathu kuno it's nthawi ngati iyo timuna tupita uzisankho pamene mwina timakaona kuti anthu ali interested in supporting sports, anthu ali interested in kukonza misewu yoti has been damaged for years. So to you it was not about that.
No, it was not. Chifukwa ndinapanga resign mu 2008. Ndipo ndinakayamba kugwira ntchito kumudzi wathu 2009. Ndi kuyambira 2009 all the way for over 5 years.
Now not as an MP.
Not as an MP. Ineyo with my wife and my friends. Ndinakamba kugwira ntchito mwina. We started with food production, helping people to do irrigation, and also giving free food to those who are hungry. We ended up building schools, education. Then we ended up taking doctors, nurses, and buying medicine, provide free medical services. Ena timatenga kubwera kuchipatala, pay all the expenses, go for surgery, blunt eye, all of those things for free. Because ineyo chimene chinandipangitsa was because I felt kuti making a difference in one person's life
Yeah.
is much more fulfilling than accumulating fame, wealth, and everything else.
True.
So that's why you find
I see.
even now, I update people what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Now, the biggest reason is one, accountability. All right?
Yeah.
So, Panopa, as a member of parliament, as a cabinet minister, I need to be accountable to Malawians, taxpayers' money. Ndapanga meeting these are the outcomes.
Yeah.
We've invested in this thing, these are the outcomes.
Yeah.
And we are planning to do this thing, and these will be the outcomes. I need to be transparent and accountable.
Yeah.
Chimene chimandithandiza so by explaining zinthu zija kwa anthu, I also get feedback.
Yeah, true.
Zikuthandiza di anthu. Ndi anthu amapanga comment pa Facebook. Indo tukwana salephera.
Salephera, of course.
Kumano, when I go through,
Yeah.
I actually go and say, that's an important one.
Yeah,
That's an important
it.
one. That's an important one. Then I go back. Nkukapanga fix zija.
Yeah.
I come back later on. Tabanga zagudi. So for me, posting ija is transparency, accountability, inspiring others to do likewise, but also to solicit feedback
from
so that I can get better. I can save better.
Yeah, I get it. And that's why I've said that it's been outstanding to me. I think for such a long time, when we try to question about what CDF does in the community, sometimes we don't get feedback. You get it. But in your way, you are able to meet the people, to meet the ADCs and tell them, we've got this chunk of money for this particular period. What can we do in the community? Because I think for a long time, boma with CDF money, we could have been able to solve all that.
Exactly. So the interesting thing about that, Ndioti, if you go to office ya Ati and Sakambewa, office mwao, you're going to find a banner.
Okay.
A banner with all the VDCs in my constituency.
Yeah.
So what we have done is we have 5 priority areas for every VDC.
Okay.
De tinazilemba. So on one side we have all the VDCs, and then on the top hand side we have list of projects that people need. The VDC say GD. It passes into 5. It is number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's been now full.
The other VDC easy until we finish all of them.
Okay.
So what we do is we have various sources of funding.
Okay.
This is what I've managed to do as well.
It's not just from CDF.
No.
Okay.
So first of all, ndimatenga CDF ija. Timanena kuti chaka chino ndipatsa ngati 200.
Kodi CDF imapita ku account yanu?
No, it doesn't. So CDF ndi ndrama zimene timazipanga approve budget ku parliament. Then ndrama zija zikakhala kuti atolera misonkho Ministry of Finance. Amazitumiza ku ma local government.
Okay.
Ndiye kuti kuma local government kuja ngati kudowa tili ma MP7 posachedwa patikhala ndi 10 pa September. But for the 7 of us ndikuti aliyese ampatsa 200 million kwacha. Ndrama zija zimapita ku account ya
District council. Okay.
Not me.
All right.
So zikhala ku council kuja. There's been what I do is see pali 200 million. Timachotsapo 20 million or 10% ina timeka pambali imene makhala pa youth, women empowerment and so on. Timachotsapo ina imakhala ya school bursary. Timachotsapo ina imakhala ya madzi, water projects. So those ones are ring fenced. All right. 100% of that needs to go to zinthu zitatu zija. Zotsalazi ndili mapita pa ADC. Zotsala ndi easy. What are the priority areas ababa? Constituency mene iyi. Ndili matha kuona kuti this VDC we've done this and this and this. Timapanga cross off. Ndikuti mwatsala ndi ziwiri. Ndrama zimene zatsalazi tentapatsenso anzanu to cross check na chilichonse. Nde tikagwirizana na timalemba iwaja amalemba project proposal. tufuna school block ndi amapita katenga ma quotation sizi ndi khudza
ADC work
so ADC ndi VDC they work together ndi council akazilemba zimene zija akagwirizana kuti that's what we want amabwera kwa ine so the council signs ine so I sign komanso ku council they sign off ndi ine ntchito yanga as you can see pose apa is to facilitate discussion and approve the project, then we take it to the council. Ku council kuja ndi amene amatithandiza kupeza contractor. All right? So contract amapanga bid. So it's a restricted tendering or open tendering or single sourcing depending zimene akufuna. Iwo akamaliza amadzenduza zotight. Atapeza contractor uyu within your budget tukuntumiza nditi mapiro katsegulira project yes. So that's how CDF works. I would want to demystify the fact yoti anthu ena amona ngati CDF imalowa mu account mwathu
that's been
they ifeo timapanga zimene tikufuna. If that happens kuna kwake that's illegal, that person will be arrested. Koma drama we don't touch the money even when it comes to the actual even if it's payment by check ineyo sindigira check
but you sign checks.
No, I don't even sign
checks. You
don't
even sign,
chimene ndimasign eneyo ndi form imene pali project description alemba chilicho ndiona kuti school yakuti afuna chakuti and my conditions zikufuna disease I am approving let's do this. The only thing that I sign, but you know what you're saying, is that form.
I see. The reason why I allowed you to talk deeply into that, it's simply because there's a lot of money that is going to CDF. Okay? And I think ikukoza kukhala kusaganiza bwino kuti tisamadziwe kuti ndalama ija imatani.
Zona.
Chifukwa chonena kuti if that could have been taken as a model, nkunena kuti this is how we must do these things in every constituency. I'm telling you, ine ndikukhupira kuti bwezi tikumaona zinthu zikumasintha each and every year. Koma chifanira kuti mwina we don't have like a model that we think is working or has worked somewhere. Aliyesa makhala kudzipangira mwayeka ndi mmene constituency yawo ikuganizira. And I wish ndithu tinakakhala nena kuti this kind of model has been tested. Mwina ka ndiboma ka ndi parliament ka iyende makonstituency ngapo amene mwina akupanga zinthu ngati izizi ndikunena kuti lamulo lathu ndilili tizipanga chonje because at the end of the day we get worried ndithu kuti mwina tikulephera kukwanisa tizitukuko zina zake mwina say a school block yonena kuti mwina it can only cost us mwina 70-80 million kwacha okay pa chaka mwina tinakatha kukonza ku school imodzi but a term is going 5 years constituency kopanda mwina ndika block olo ndika mozi komwe.
That's right.
So I allowed you kuti mu masuke bwino because in the mazo it's also another important area imene ikufunika kwambiri.
If I had known kuti tikafika kumeneko ndikanapanga so prepare ngati chifoni panga document project ili yonse ndikanatha kupelesa kuti accountability.
Exactly. We're gonna have another episode with you where we'll just talk about community development and at that level kuti muza lankhule kwambiri. But now I want you to take us through your experience as a minister. You were first appointed as a minister of lands. Also, you didn't make it into the first cabinet that Dr. Laz had appointed.
Sure.
I don't know kuti munamva bwanji because I know kuti anthu timakhata ziyeneleza kale kuti ineyo ndi first 11 zivote zitani. Now when coach says kuti bwana muli pa bench kayanzana kuyamba, how is the feeling? And maybe you can take us through kuti now zonsezi yazatha you are now the Minister of Lands. What is it that you experienced or you found ku Ministry of Land kuja zimene maganiza kuti mwina simuzipeza ndemwazipeza? And maybe you can also share us kuti what was the achievements when you were living on that short period imene munakhala ku lands?
First of all, let me take you back to the whole reason I joined politics.
Okay.
Because that is going to explain my reaction or my behavior afterwards. So the reason why I joined politics ndi chifukwa it was also a response kuchokera kwa request ya anthu pa ground kuti I should run for a position.
As you've explained.
So when I was doing it, I had no politics in mind.
Okay.
But as I was doing that, those in politics, they thought that was good.
Okay.
Now ndimapanga dera lochepa iwo aja amafuna kuti zichitike
dera lalikulu. Okay.
chifukwa anthu amene anabwera kuzandipempha kuti I should run to be the member of parliament sanali adera limene ndimagwira ntchito, anali adera the other side of the constituency. Tamva zimene mukupanga uku.
Okay.
Timafuna kuti mutiyimire ngati MP chifukwa zimene mukupanga ukokozo kunonso tuzifuna.
Okay.
So it was a 2-year battle.
Yeah.
Of back and forth, chasing each other kuti ndikayimire. It was until later on in 2012, that's when, after consulting, talking with my family, my wife, they said, well, zose mukupangazi, it's a calling. You have been called to serve in a small place. Now you have been called to serve a constituency. So for me, I was like, okay, God called me here. It's a step. Ndinavomera. Chimene chinandipangitsa kwambiri kuti ndivomere, the final, using the word, the nail on the coffin, was when I heard kuti Dr. Laz was running.
Okay.
So we shared similar backgrounds.
Okay.
So when he said he's running, for me it was like, well, if there's a pastor who is running, a fellow Christian, I'm a Christian, both of us have been called into this new ministry, then there's no reason why he should go alone. Okay. Can I go and support him? Okay. So that's where we ended up going. It was
kind of an inspiration.
Exactly. Okay. Then when we went in politics, 2013, miraculously, which was actually what's the English word? Affirmation. It was God's calling. I was supported fully to go into the primary and general election. I lacked nothing. People, resources, and so on, which was great. Okay. So when we went in, but God said you are going into politics, but not into government yet. Okay. Because we didn't go into government in 2014. So God was preparing us in opposition for 5 years. Okay. Then after 5 years, we worked so hard to have the president in. So for me, everything that I was doing was to support Dr.
The president. Okay.
To get into government and to be the president. So for me, I was happy. I was like, finally, the mission has been fulfilled. So when the president chose the cabinet, if you noticed, what I did immediately was I went back to my roots. So I ended up staying in the constituency. We're running projects and so on. If you go on my media, social media.
Was that to be seen?
To be seen as in
that although you've left me out, but still you can see I'm capable of doing these things, like even on the ground and all that. No, or it was just you just diverting your attention to your constituency.
Yes, so it was a way of saying, okay, I've done my part, so this is where God asked me to do and I've managed to do. So let me go back and wait for God to tell me what else to do. Okay. So that's why I went back to the constituency, kept on doing the projects one after the other, until one day, completely out of nowhere, then he appointed me to be in cabinet. So that was, to me, it was a surprise. And then it became a shock. Because he appointed me in cabinet in a portfolio that I had never ever dreamt of before.
Okay. Munkaganiza maundunadi when you sit down.
For me, I was looking at my background. Okay, so if I am to be appointed to be in cabinet, maybe I can be in the communications because that's my background.
Information, Minister of Information.
Because that's my background. I went to college for that. Or maybe something to do with
community, maybe
anything
social
stuff.
So
for me, that is what I thought I would be in that portfolio. But then all of a sudden, I find myself in the Minister of Lands. So it came as a shock, and it took me a long time to recover from that. One, something that I had never thought of, I had never done before. And secondly, it was in the midst of the chaos with the whole issue of the court cases and land matters. So for me, I was going there. The whole country has just zeroed in on the Minister of Lands. Then I'm supposed to carry that burden. So I took it as a way of God preparing me to say, okay, you've been in the comfort zone here. Let me throw you in the fire so that I can learn something. So it reminds me, there's a video clip. which says, be careful of what you ask God.
Yeah.
Because you might ask God for wisdom. He is going to put you in a situation where you're going to get wiser. Because a lot of people, they think that they can ask God for wisdom, then it will just come wisdom, then you become wise.
I'm here.
But God will put you in a situation that is going to be so difficult and so trying so that you can get that wisdom you need. So be careful of what you ask God. Because He's not going to answer you the way you want, but He's going to put you in a situation for you to get what you've asked Him.
So you're now into the Ministry of Lands. After the shock, you've done the learning. What are the things on the ground that you've found on the ground? You'll be like, oh, okay, what is this? So, Zidijong. And how are you doing in those days, in the first days as a Minister of Lands?
So first of all, we had to manage the narrative in the Minister of Lands. The narrative was terrible. So for me, my first thing is, okay, how can we let people trust the ministry again? So I sat down, then I met every person in the Ministry of Lands, the top management, to understand every department and how they work. Because some other thing out there, it was because of misinformation, so I had to give people information. So first of all, understand the ministry. Then start explaining what the Ministry of Lands is all about. What do we do? How do we do? And then how can you be assisted? So then, because we are sending so much information, people were like, wait a minute, we didn't know that. Oh, so this is how we do things, and so on. Then we started cracking down on some activities or behaviors that were making the ministry have a bad name. So there were issues of land grabbing. So we had to manage people who were politically affiliated, who were doing all the nasty things. So we had to confront them head on. Then those things started going down. Then we started fixing the problems which were there relating to documents, ownership of land, and so on. So we started inviting all the people who had grievances. Okay, what's your problem? Where are you coming from? Where are you? Where do you want
because in how many of my business report emos indeed to it's owned by and to four.
Yes.
So
what we ended
up doing in my documents.
Exactly. So what I did was but my document down. My document down. There are some things that you can deal with them legally. There are some things you can deal with them administratively. So you just have to be wise. So when those things were coming, duplicate documents, then the moment you bring, and this is where I loved my job that time, was when those people come with documents, I would bring all of them together. Okay, when did you get yours? We got it this day. When did you get yours? We got it at this time. All right. Then I would sit with the Commissioner of Lands and the Commissioner of Physical Planning here. Can you see these documents here? Which one is real? They'll say, this is real. Did you hear that? Yes. Where did you get yours? A friend of mine did this, or I did this one. Okay, can you go back? If you want land, apply properly. You come back, you find us.
That's how people lost the land that they had paid for. Was it something that was happening maybe in the same ministry by people that were in the same ministry?
Two things were happening, or it might be
because I think that maybe the documents could have Kazidindo, Mwina, my signature, and all that.
So what was happening is a very typical case. You come to Minister of Lands, I will give you that land. I'll offer later. All right. So you will know this is my piece of land. Someone will come and they'll see that it's vacant. Then what they will do is they will go to someone who will be faking the documents. So we actually arrested them. While I was there. So they would fake the documents, Chidindo and so on. Then they will give him. So he would go and start building on the land. On the land.
With the fake documents.
With the fake documents.
Was there any connection with people inside? Or just they were just independent?
No,
people?
Independent.
Really?
Mostly they were independent. Yeah, because in Malawi, you don't start building the same time you are offered land. You go and raise money, come and put a wall. You go raise money, do a foundation. And so other people take 2 or 3, 4 years before they do anything. Then one day you just find that someone is building. Then when you come to Minister of Lands, will tell you this is your land. Then this person will take Zima bouncer, and then they will tell you, oh, I'm politically affiliated.
Right. True.
They are politically affiliated. No. That's land grabbing. It's illegal. Mufuna malo, pangana apply.
Okay.
Do it there. They go away. Mubanga. So one of the achievements that I can say was one, we didn't end, we reduced the issues of land grabbing. One of the issue of area 44 between Malawi housing, or between Antugulanzi, the community, all those things we managed to go through them. So Komaso zoning yamalo kudi awa tizibange izugu tizibange komaso having like a renewed interest ya Lilongwe master plan kudi expansion ya Lilongwe yambe kupita mbali. So those things, the 8 months I was there, there were some things that we managed to achieve. Just
so
a
few
few things.
Only stayed Minister of Lands for 8 months.
That's right.
And then one way you woke up a Minister of Agriculture. I have to be honest with you. Maybe for some people that were looking at you being raised from the party as anyamata akujipani oti mwina amakhala akuyanganidwa mwina mwake kuti mwina atu mantoi ikhoza uzagwera kuti ikhoza uzagwera kumene koko. And looking at how the Ministry of Agriculture was that time, to some, I think zinali zonena kuti zimapereka mantha because there was a minister there, and then after that, and then you are appointed as a minister. I mean, with everything that was happening to agriculture, now you've been appointed. What was your reaction? Sam, I hope he called you. The big man called you. Sam, can you take up agriculture? What was your reaction?
Actually, I was with my wife.
Okay.
When that appointment happened, I was with my wife, and when the announcement was made, I broke down.
Was it the announcement first or the phone call?
The announcement.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a national address.
Okay. Yeah.
So the president is speaking to the whole, and the whole nation is listening.
Yes.
Radio, TV, wherever, and then he just dropped the bombshell.
I've appointed Sam Kawale as the Minister of Agriculture.
Yeah. So for me, I broke down.
Why?
It took a long time for me to regain the composure.
You are already a minister.
Yeah, not just being a minister, but I was like, okay, I became a cabinet minister when there was hell
in the
Minister of Lands. And as if that wasn't enough, the president has appointed me to go to another part of hell.
Oh yeah. You put that right. Because honestly, as I've said, I remember texting some people. I'm a guy. Because I mean that ministry, there's a lot, because there was restructuring at ADMAC.
Yes.
There was a lot of things. There was things to do with the AIP.
And the fertilizer.
Scattered.
Yes.
So okay, mwina tiambire ku ADMAC. You found ADMAC kuli restructuring. You need to work with ADMAC. You need to raise. How was it like? And was restructuring ADMAC necessary? Share with us.
Okay, so the restructuring of ADMAC was necessary.
Okay.
Because you can't fix something that is broken with the same people who broke it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I get it.
So that can never happen. So we needed to do a restructuring.
Yeah.
A very costly restructuring, but
very
necessary.
Costly, because we lost about 20 billion,
24 billion or so,
paying for
it's an expensive restructuring.
It is.
But I like the analogy.
Was it value for money?
It's actually more than value for money.
Okay.
Yeah. I like the analogy that Dr. Laz used when he was swearing in.
Yeah.
He used the analogy of surgery.
Yeah, of course.
Mukafuna kukoza mwendo tubi and so on, you have to break some bones kuti zilumikizane bwino. So ADMAC had to be broken so that we can start from scratch.
But I think
it was necessary.
Most of the times the patient mwina samapanga understand vuto limene ali nalo.
Yes.
Kuti mumuza kuti tikuthyola kuti ukonzeke.
And that is what a lot of Malawians they didn't understand.
Yeah, of course.
And at the same time, those who were part of the system, they didn't want because they were comfortable with the system.
Of course.
So being taken out, kwa hiyo it was very painful.
Yeah,
yes, we're talking about people's lives.
Yeah.
That is normal, it happens. But here is a government entity that is supposed to save Malawians. But it has been broken.
Yeah.
And when we're trying to fix it, you are resisting the fixing.
Okay.
Komano, going there, as I said, I broke down and it took a long time for me that night to recover. And it took me 1 week to report for work.
Okay.
Because I felt, let me finish a few things in the Minister of Lands, and then you can go and get a report. So when I went to report, it was also a completely different environment. But what I said was the same thing. God will never give you a smooth path. Then you will not grow. Yeah. But this was a way of me accepting God's call. You say, okay, you put me here. Okay, you've taken me here. You've put me here. You've broken me. You've shaped me, and you've set me on this path. Now, out of your own wisdom and will, you are bringing me into this place to break me, to crush me, to mold me again into something else that you want to use in future.
Yeah.
All right.
What are we going to see differently? There's been a surgery that has taken place here.
So first of all, Jodi Muone Zvinetapanga, because after that we are now in year. So the first year, 2022 to 2023, it was when we were dismissing people.
Okay.
2023, 2024, it was recruitment. Okay. And putting a few things in place. 2024 to 2025 moving forward, that's when we are now growing it. So here's now what is happening.
Yeah.
We have new team in ADMAC who are now running.
Okay.
A few things
like we will not find those people that were part of that damage panopa.
No, tidango sunga go ena age amene amatanchitoyo.
Okay.
Very few.
What was
not even 10.
Okay.
Yeah, not even 10.
So it was like a transparent way of what can I say? Like looking into them, saying "Kuti uyuyu." Yeah, I think we have to keep.
Exactly.
Okay.
There were very good reasons to keep them. They also had to apply.
Okay.
So it wasn't just an appointment.
Okay.
They also had to apply and scrutinize. So I think you can continue based on your personality, your knowledge, and so on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So since we've done that, first of all, tinkachoka wambiri ndi chimanga wola.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
So it was mismanagement kuma depot watch. But you see, for the last 2 years, did
we had the maize in the
we've actually had maize. We even have maize.
Because ulipo unena kuti chimanga sichinaole chifukwa chimanga cho kunalibe. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So for the last 2 years, chimanga mwadimagi sijinaole, which is an extremely good thing. And then on top of that, ADMAC yamba sobano kumabanga ma product osana sana kumagula ndukumabanga right now.
We used to see ADMAC products before, like years back.
Yeah, so if you go in supermarkets, mukabeza mpunga.
Panoba?
ADMAC, yes, mpunga or ADMAC. ADMAC is having rice mashobu tsopano.
Okay.
Ntedza mashobu tsopano. So you're going to start having my product ADMAC branded mashobu. We are resuscitating that.
Yeah.
One. Tinali nima factory odi anafa. For example, cotton.
Yeah.
ADMAC bonoba ikugula tonje since last year, processing it nkumagulitsa. Chaka chino we're going to do more, even exporting like what we did last year. Small tons kumandiji yami.
Yeah. Okay.
Chaka chino we're going to do bigger.
Yeah.
ADMAC is getting back on its feet. Chaka chino tayamba kugula mbeu mofulumira. As we speak bonoba madebo tantakutani akugulitsa mbeu.
Okay.
Ife kumagula. So that
panoba
zikuchitika.
Yeah. And
ADMAC is a class on the tatsegula tatseka will continuously be providing these services.
Okay.
They to go tingono so that we can get to the point where ADMAC becomes a giant again in the agro business.
You used to have ADMAC used to have farms.
Yes.
Are you planning of resurrecting them?
Yes. So what happened is ndemi management tunenayo chifukwa
inagulisidwa.
Inagulitsidwa.
Okay.
Yeah, so
anthu amene management imene inalipo mbuyomo anapanga chiganizo choti silifuna tidzili maso
zina ndi zina zinapeza zitani zagulitsidwa ndipo panopa chifukwa cha encroachment imene machitikaso we are trying to rescue the two farms that are remaining.
So you're working with the Minister of Lands as well?
Okay. Minister of Lands and local government.
Local government, okay.
To get back land yathu iji.
So anthu amene mwina anagula nthawi imeneyo ataulandidwa malo aja osapasidwa so ndalama?
No, malamulo amanena kuti if you bought it legally, you cannot be they can't take it back by force.
Okay.
All right. Chifukwa iwo ndikuti anapanga apply the way offer.
Yeah.
So all the paperwork is clean.
It's clean. Okay.
So that one we can't.
So it was a management decision to say kuti malo ena tikugulesa ngati adimake.
Yeah, and they would either on their own or influence wina kwake zinachitika.
Okay.
So if we are not focusing on what happened in the past, we are focusing on kuti pano from now moving onwards. Titani
mukhalano ndi minda ngati adimake kuti mutha kulima asonano.
Done commercially.
So the fact was that you were using for value addition analipo sana gulisidwe, like the machinery and all that.
Machine ena alipo.
Okay.
Koma ena they are outdated.
Yeah.
Ndeti ufuna kuti tizipange refurbish and rehabilitate to meet the current demands nazo. That's why ngati za Nandolo DAO we are going to kick them back in to process Nandolo. Asamabide raw, we're going to process and export.
Okay.
We are doing the same thing in the cotton. We have a couple of ginaries.
Yeah.
We've already started doing that, rehabilitate. So we'll be processing cotton.
This year you've exported raw, right?
No, we processed it.
You processed
into the lint.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll continue to do that.
Okay.
Until we get to the point where in the 1980s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, Kumarai kunoti nkapanga zovala.
Yeah.
So ineo go yanga ndiyo the ADMAC should get to the point where we are doing fabric. Kuti Ministry of Trade akamanena kuti we are banning the importation of second-hand clothes.
Yeah.
Tizikhala kuti zovala
zilipo kale. Yeah, true. Yeah.
Koma sitingapange ban second-hand clothes.
Tilibe. Yeah. Okay.
Alternative. So let's have the alternative.
Yeah.
Then we can do zinto zina.
Okay. Kodi like in your ministry, how many MDAs do you have, or like parastatals? I mean, under Ministry of Agriculture, and how are you aligning them to your goal, food security?
All right. So palima parastatal ena, they are aligned to food security. Palima entity ena, they are aligned to forex generation.
Okay.
So when we talk about those parastatals, I'll give an example. Tobacco Commission.
Yeah.
That one is earmarked for forex generation.
Yeah.
Then we have the Green Belt Authority. That one is production.
Yeah.
Kujukuli salima sugar. That's
yeah.
production. For food security and forex generation. Then we have ADMAC.
Yeah.
ADMAC is both production as forex generation. Then we have the Cannabis Regulatory Authority. We have the Cotton Council of Malawi. So all these are there.
NFRA.
So NFRA is more strategic grain reserve. It's just storage.
How is it different from ADMAC, NFRA?
Okay, so
because I feel like amangoneka pogula poka and nimina so ndukusunga. So I feel like maybe that was a component that maybe could have been ADMAC.
All right. So NFRA, it means National Food Reserve Agency.
Yeah.
Emphasis is on reserve.
Okay.
The goal ya NFRA is to buy not just maize. Ndi chinthu chimene anthu osambiri amapanga mbuyomu. Ndipo nova strategic plan ya nyuwani. We're not focusing on maize. And mudzanditane nthawi ena tizakambe za chimanga.
Okay.
For this country will never develop ndi chimanga.
Tabwerezani.
This country will never develop ndi chimanga. And will never be rich ndi chimanga.
Okay.
Ngakhalidi machikakamira.
Meaning we've got so many valuable crops that we can be focusing on.
In fact, we can be spending 10% of the money we spend on maize, and this country be food secure, and generate forex, and be rich. But tukakamira chinthu chonero chutipanga drain forex is keeping us hungry, is keeping us poor. And tukakamirabe kuti tizona ngabe ndalama pa chinthu choti historically has always been making us poor. Dete nizakhala ndi podcast ya
chimanga podcast.
But NFRA is National Food Reserve. Food uyo it's everything that is going to help us, both for commercial for daily consumption. Pamene ADMAC is commercial.
Okay.
Is kugula, kugulitsa, kugula, kugulitsa. But NFRA, when it buys, palima entity awiri amene amakatenga kumene koji. Kuli Dodma, amene amakatenga for food relief zaulere. Ndiye pali ADMAC amene amakatenga for commercial purposes. Ndi ADMAC imakagula sikuti imatenga kwa ulere. Imakagula nkupanga za commercials and after paying. Dodma ndi zaulere.
Okay, so it means kuti panopa you are able to align my MDAs and my parastatals on sewa into your goal as a Minister of Agriculture.
Goal ya Minister of Agriculture is under Malawi Vision 2063.
Okay.
So if we don't have an independent goal, chine chiri chonse tikuchipanga aligned to Malawi's Vision 2063, which is broken down into 10-year implementation plans. So we have MIP 1 and so on. 1E ndikupene kuli agriculture, mechanization, commercialization, and value addition and so on. And under that, there's the ATM strategy. So munati muonetsetse Vision 2063 yathu sitikaipanga achieve ngati agriculture sili bwino. That's why agriculture is critical to the development of this country. Ndiye tikupanga emphasize kuti every department and agency within the Ministry of Agriculture should align to Vision 2063. Then makandi wayendera wawa yourself. Are you doing production? Are you doing mechanization? Are you doing value addition? Are you doing job creation, wealth creation, import substitution, and are you exporting? So I'm supposed to look at all these 5 things if that department or agency is doing. If not, let's rethink about the whole thing. Let's align to that.
I see. I think, take us through process ya kugula fertilizer. Amene amatenga udindo waukulu pa kugula fertilizer ndi ndani? Is it the Ministry of Agriculture? Kapena mwina ka is it imakhala ku office ya OPC? Kaya mwina pali a certain department imene imalongosola zimene zeze? Because honestly for such a long time zimaoneka ngati kuti tazizimukira kuti tikulima chaka chino ndiye tufunika AIP. Tikamba kusogolo kusafunika kwake mwina ndikufunika kwake, but I just wanted kuti you should take us through kuti kodi ndondomeko yake imakhala yotani, makauti tilibe nthawi yokwanira kuti tipange dongosolo ladzogula fertilizer kapena bwanji. Pali ma bureaucracy ena amene amakhala into the system amene amakhala kuti panga affect.
I would dissect your question a little bit. Pali kugula koyamba you and me kupita mu shop ukagula kuti tipite kumunda. Pali kugula kachiwiri the government kugula fertilizer kuti apatse alimi for subsidy. Ndiye pali kugula kwina kwa the private companies kuyitanitsa kunja kugula. Ndiye pali kugula kwa domestic. Ndiye pali kugula kwa importation. Now your question ndikuimva ngati kuti it's now importing fertilizer into Malawi.
I think yanga focusing kwambiri pa AIP.
So let me explain how AIP works. In the context, let me explain how fertilizer procurement works in the context of AIP. All right. So in terms of fertilizer, timayambira koyambilira kumene kuli ma producer. Ma producer ndi maiko kapena ma company amene amapanga produce individual ingredients ya fertilizer. Pamakhala N, P, K, C, Z, and so on. Those are minerals. Ndiye pali ma company amene amapanga produce individual components. Imene jai ndi production, kapena mining. Kenako pamakhala manufacturers. Ma manufacturer amachedwanso kuti blending companies. Ndiye kuti company imene iyi imakagula N, P, K, Z, S, chani. Ndiye amakagula nkuzibweretsa mu warehouse, amazika mudzima section. All right? Ndiye umapita, umakanena ine ndifuna fertilizer NPK, koma NU akhale percentage yakuti, P percentage makuti, K percentage makuti, nditi nati. Ndiye that manufacturer amapanga blend. So blending is the same as manufacturing. That's stage number 2.
Okay.
Then stage number 3 amakhala distributor.
Okay.
Ndetu wapereka order ndikena wakatenga kuti uzikagulitsa as a distributor kapena retailer.
Yeah.
Then kena kumakhala consumer. Ndiye anthu amaona ngati kuti fertilizer uja utha kungopita dziko lina lililonse nkukangompeza nkumtenga. It doesn't work like that. You place an order specifically for your country. The only fertilizer that is universal then the urea. Because urea is universal. Everything else is crop specific, so soil specific fertilizers. Ndiye kumalawi kuno, when it comes to procurement ya fertilizer for AIP, anthu amanena kuti why don't you buy fertilizer from manufacturers? Well, first of all, we are buying some of the fertilizer from manufacturers. Okay. Chifukwa kumalawi kunoko, we already have manufacturers. Tilindi company Optichem, komanso Malawi fertilizer. So these are manufacturers. Ali Malawi momuno. Okay. And hamona ngati kuti kumalawi kunoko we don't have fertilizer manufacturing companies. Tili now. Okay. We just need more for competition purposes.
Okay, so Optichem ndi Malawi fertilizer company. Akupanga so manufacture fertilizer.
They are manufacturers.
Wodi mumagula koso?
Timagula koso kwambiri yeso.
Okay.
Yes. So they are manufacturers. Kunjaso kulima manufacturers.
Okay.
Chimene timapanga ifeyo. Chifukwa cha malamulo a procurement. We make it to be a competitive bidding process. Chifukwa Optichem ndi Malawi fertilizer. These are not big international companies.
No. Okay.
But they are able to bring in my component and manufacture locally. Come outside, there are huge companies that also do manufacturing. Ndiye timapanga tender kuti timafuna this component, timafuna kuti amene angafune kupanga supply ndi ndani. Ndiye Optichem imapanga bid, Malawi fertilizer imapanga bid, ETG, Mediterranean, Paramount and so on, both local and international companies. Ndiye depending on my parameter amene tasankha, chintu chomalizira cheni chimakhala price. Okay. So price is the very last thing we look at when it comes to procurement. Ndiye tikona kuti awawa ndiye maikaso, also in order not to have a monopoly. Ndiye if it's 100,000 tons, timapanga break down into say my category 10. Could at least there should be 10 suppliers or 8 suppliers so that we don't put all eggs in one basket in case they fail. Commerce to avoid monopoly. Ndiye awakapanga bid apa depending ndi lot iyi. Timapanga eliminate amene akane kupanga meat zino zitandizina. Ngati pali anthu 5 amene apanga meat apa. The very last thing kuti chine chili chosafanana. The very last thing is price. Okay. Who has quoted the list? Ndiye timatenga ameneyo. Lot 1 titenga uyu. Lot 2 titenga uyu. Lot 3 titenga. So tipanga urea tipanga NPK. Ndiye kuti tamaliza. So for AIP, that is the process that we do. But it's not the Minister of Agriculture as in my office. Government has created an entity known as Smallholder Fertilizer Revolving Fund.
Ndende mene maendesa kugula kwa fertilizer.
Because ntchito yawo is to buy fertilizer on behalf of government. Okay. To be used commercially, commercial subsidy.
So smallholder farmers, that's it?
Yes.
Is it Malawian, as in good it's owned by
Malawi government?
Malawi government?
Minister of Agriculture.
Okay.
Yeah. The same thing is there's Tobacco Commission and the Minister of Agriculture. ADMAC and the Minister of Agriculture. Smallholder fund.
Who else owns smallholder?
It's 100% Malawi government.
Mulibe ma percentage jenaga mwenye? Okay. Aye. We just employ them?
Kuliba mwenye.
Aye. Okay. Mbona ndikusokoneza ndikwe na kwake
zikozoteka ya kwambira CEO mpaka na cleaner osinda Malawi.
Okay. So ndi imene imapasidwa mphamvu.
Yes.
Yoti mugule fertilizer.
Exactly.
Is there mwina pamapezeka kuti mwina ka leniency kena kake konena kuti let's consider Malawi fertilizer company and Optichem before maybe we go outside. Because ndimayangana pama mistakes amene mwina takhala tukupanga. There was issue ya kugula fertilizer kwa company yoti ndi butchery. Was it? Choncho it? There was
the place was a butcher.
Yeah. The alleged, anyway,
Yeah.
let that be out of the way, but let's stick to the main issue.
Yeah.
Main issue, the fertilizer was bought to a company that Malawians feel it should not have happened.
Yeah.
So, it was a similar process. Yeah. Okay, who is the lowest bidder? Nangasi, timabanga restricted tendering.
Yeah.
Kabena international competitive bid.
Yeah.
So international competitive kabena just national
yeah.
national
Competitive,
bid.
yeah.
So the moment it's open, it means antakunja ajatovanga supply.
Do you allow middlemen, like just traders, or you are only interested with manufacturers, people that you can walk into their plant ndikuona kuti awawadi akupanga akusonkhanisa ma components a fertilizer and they are able.
Okay.
Because the other thing was muchifanya mina timagwisa ntchito timakanga tigwisa ntchito ma middlemen.
So that's why ndimana kuti pali producer, pali manufacturer,
Yeah.
pali distributor, ndikena pali retailer.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
So munati munetsetse between retailer ndi producer pali anthu ena atatu baba. So this can all be considered as middlemen. All right? So
Okay.
ndanena chimene chidala chifukwa chakuti anthu tikamagamba za middlemen anthu ambiri amanena kuti just like you want to supply something to me mungothamanga nkupito katenga nkuboloza panga supply.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
No paperwork, no tracing, chani. If you're based on malamulo athu a procurement,
Yeah.
for you to actually supply to me, you're supposed to meet my condition hour.
Yeah.
Ndiye ma distributor, okay, these are the distributors. Ndi anthu amene amapangidwa accused kwambiri ngati ndi middlemen.
Madobadoba.
Adi madobadoba.
Chichewa
Chichewa chakuno ndi madobadoba.
Yes.
Alright.
Odi alibe plant.
Alibe plant koma no
They're just into the distribution. Mwina basi iwo chimene amapanga ndi distribution class.
So in terms of in business, kuna kulikonse in the world amene ajalipo.
Okay.
And legally they are allowed to trade. Chizungu ena mwa iyo amachulima agents,
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Chichewa ndeti napochera kwa mali
dobadoba.
And it has a negative connotation.
Yeah, of course.
Chizungu they are agents. So agents they are legal.
Yeah.
Chifukwa pali ma producer ena, kapena manufacturer ena. Bama terms bao they cannot sell directly to you.
Yeah. Okay.
They cannot directly sell to you.
Amena upanga mwina nitrogen aja.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or even ma manufacturer.
Amena utenga nitrogen.
Amakhala ndi chizungu china timati chani. Authorized distributors.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Authorized distributors.
Ndemena amapereka mwaiko anthu akali ma agents aja.
So those are agents.
Okay.
Nde ife kumalawi timachuli madobadoba.
Okay.
Timona ngati anthu oyipa. All right?
Yeah.
That's where kumalawi tinachila kuitsa chinthu. All right. So pali ma agent ena they are legal.
Yeah.
But we also know pali ma agent ena they are illegal.
Yeah.
The problem is kupita kumadobadoba who are illegal.
Yeah.
But if you are satisfied with an agent who is legal, then you can go kwina kulikose akakuza kuti izinzoyenera. You can proceed after meeting my conditions also. So kumalawi kunoku we have say Toyota Malawi. So that one is an agent of Toyota waku Japan.
Yeah.
It's an authorized distributor. Ndi dobadoba wa Toyota ku Japan.
Okay, so what was the problem by atuyaja, because it was kuti okay ndalama tukatenga tinalipira.
Yeah.
Is it kuti udobadoba wao unali wa illegal kapena?
So there's an issue of what we call ease of doing business. Now, sometimes when we talk about ease of doing business in the context of Kumalawi, anthu ambiri amona zijatimona za technical zijet. Komano internationally, when you talk about ease of doing business, is kuti ku dziko limene ukupitako reputation yawo yakhala motani. Chifukwa you can't have a multi-billion-dollar company nkubwera ku Malawi kunoku kena kukapeza di front page ukapozera Minister of Agriculture akambirana ndi dobadoba kuti apange deal yofoira ya fertilizer. Iyi ndi multi-billion-dollar company yoti mapanga supply dziko lonse la Malawi. Koma chifukwa reporter wina wake amene ali affiliated ndi chipani china chake choti umadana nacho wangopita ndi front page kunena kuti doba akubwera kudzafuna kugulitsa fertilizer ku unduna wa zaulimi apapa pachitika chinyengo ndipo kampani imene iyi uyu ali ndi mlandu wakuti there is no company in the world imene khoza bwera ku Malawi kunoko chifukwa chakuti ifeyo kunoku reporting yathu kapena social media yathu kapena Malawi athu chimene amakonda ndi kutchuka ndi kunyoza munthu wina kapena kutchuka ndi kuipitsa mbiri ya munthu wina ndi chifukwa chake ku Malawi kunoko anthu ambiri akana kubwera kudzapanga invest ku Malawi osati chifukwa kuti ku Malawi kuli katangale osati chifukwa kuti ku Malawi kunoku security ndi yosakhala bwino mavuto osiyanasiyana koma chifukwa chakuti iwo amanena kuti tikapita ku Malawi mbiri yathu ikayipa they don't want to lose mabiliyoni mu business amene akupanga chifukwa cha dziko laling'ono ngati Malawi limene anthu ake amangokhala kulankhula zonyoza zokhazokha.
So you can confirm kuti company imene tinazayilipira ija ndikukatengako ndalama its experience has been in the business?
No, that I cannot confirm chifukwa chakuti I was not involved that time.
Okay.
Yeah, so nditakwera focus yanga was kuti kodi how am I going to save the situation? Okay. I came in the thick of things and focus was kodi tipange rescue program imotani kodi tipange rescue Minister of Agriculture motani there's an issue imene iyi that's why since then mpaka na panopa simundiva ndi ukamba kwambiri chifukwa ndinayisiya manja mwa the Attorney General's office amene ananena kuti tichitenga chinthuchi zikamakhala kuti zikumalizika tizikuuzani so I push it to him because he understands the context of everything. Focus yanga panopa admark yende agriculture yende Malawi's Vision 2063 tipange follow koma ndayankha izizi kuti ndipereke context ya mmene timagwirira ntchito ku unduna.
McDonald, what was your comment or question?
My comment comes to information mmene mapangira flow. I understand kuti it is in the interest of professionalism not to expose my deal before they are done. But I think when something has happened, the aftermath imazakhala a bit sketchy in how the explanation comes in. Because even now, before your explanation, even when I was looking at Attorney General kupita, Germany, kupanga trace account and everything else, mimi mapanga report, right? It may not be how it actually happened. Kuma mpaka nopanga recover ndalama in that way. My question was, I thought kupina mwena pamakhala mwina ma guarantees and we can send you the money kwa mwina pamakhala zaima pena pake you get it but you can't access it until mwina we receive the payment. It's like kuti people have these kind of questions which sometimes you wonder kuti is it kuti Ministry of Information has failed to supply like timeline ya information kuti munthu akamaza imva nkhani yokuti okay fine deal inachitika government is tinapanga in trust for them to do deals on our behalf and that's okay koma mina naipangira ntchito yanaipanga bwinobwino and this is what happened. So when it goes out there and misinformation memabwera and disinformation memabwera it comes in straight as if ikuti panali ma kickbacks enake munthu nako apanga chakuti and then at the end of the day people are disappointed without even understanding what happened. And sometimes before you come in, sometimes people feel okay kuti despite kuti andisana mvesese it's okay ife tikuzwa chilungamo. I feel like chimene chimakhasola kwika because chimapanga mabala amene anthu amazapanga reference because people will still go back and reference to nkhani kuti munapanga chakuti as if kuti everyone who worked on this samaganiza sanapanga consider kena kalikonse koma you had professors probably in those places you have anthu okuti they know how to do deals and they knew the process only kuti the process was never explained in the aftermath.
I think what you've said point imene yonena kuti mwina pena pake timanena kuti okay asiyena alankhule as long as tudziwa chilungamo. So koma chilungamo ichi chimafuna kuti chipitebe it's now up to the person kuvomera kapena ayi depending ndi narrative imene ukufuna iweyo. So I would want to agree with you on that one. Being proactive. Komanso choti mudziwe this is also from personal experience. Ndionena kuti chifukwa chakuti chinthu chichitika and before you actually do the announcement munthu wina wachiva and they have brought out a negative narrative The negative narrative ije ndimene imapita mofulumira kwambiri. All right? Ndiye kenako ukadzabwera kuti now let me explain it. Zinakhalira. Tinambira apa, kupita apa. Even before you finish explaining, abweraso akunama amene aja.
Chilungamo
ndize akubisa china chake. Ndekena akapanga create china chake kuti chipange add weight to the first misinformation. Ndetso pano chimene chimachitika, you start chasing mabodza.
True.
So, because the moment akangoyamba kunama, if you try to go and uzimitsa moto, wino yakaswa, wino yakapa. So in the end, you become distracted.
True.
So you spend your time kupita kumakanena kuti is I. In the end, you lose focus on the main thing. So pena pamene moto, okay chabwino. Awawa akukamba izizi. This is wrong information. This is the right information we have given. So let's not lose focus. Let's continue focusing on the right thing. Komano, the point with one that I said I agree, ndioti tisamango nena kuti podi ife chilungamo tikuchidziwa, let's continue tisafotokozere anthu. It doesn't harm repeating the same thing over and over again without kukatsutsa bodza la nyuwani. Koma if we stick to our narrative, so akanena chakuti koma kunena chakuti just stick to your narrative. Kumanena chakuti just stick to your narrative over and over again. It doesn't hurt.
I see. Okay, so what regulate mtengono wa fertilizer kwa anthu ena amene sakupindula ndi AIP, because the process imene mwalongosola iyi ndi AIP, but then there are people that are not beneficiaries to the AIP amene timakagula ano fertilizer uja. What is it that regulate mitengo manager kuti ufika kuti chaka chino mwina anthu anagula 50,000 chaka cha mawa agula 120? What timachitika ndi chani?
But my factor awiri. One, there's the international price. Makampani oyambirira aja akupanga mining aja, manufacturing, also manufacturers, komano the producers.
Okay.
Zimayambira kuma producers.
Ama NPK aja.
So awawa amatonena kuti chaka chino cost of production yathu ya eni yakwera. In the end, kukwera kwa eni uja kuchoka ku producer, it will be passed on to manufacturer, to the distributor, to the consumer. It means kuti ngati Gugu yakwera ndi sendi $10, that $10 will be passed on kwa winaliyese, including iwe ogulayo okatira kumunda. First thing. Second thing, imatengeraso ndi exchange rate yathu ya ku Malawi. Ita kutheka kuti mtengo sunakwere, koma chifukwa kuti kwacha yagwa yazuza mphamvu yachoka pa 1,500 yafika 1,700, it means ndiye kuti the dollar value will be the same. Koma ukamakagula in Malawi kwacha ukakhuti wakwera. Nde ifeyo chimene chinati vuta kwambiri kumalawi kunoko zinali zinthu ziwiri at the same time. One, the production cost inakwera
kuma producers.
Ndiye kenako exchange rate iso nkugwaso. So that's why it has jumped from kind of 75,000 and so on ukafika mwamba kwambiri. And itapeza kuti exchange rate ya sunthaso, a third factor came in. Dollar just imapezeka. So which means ndiye kuti ku normal market yachoka pa rate ina yafika pa rate ina, koma ukapita kuti akatenge pa rate yenyuwanija sukuyipeza. Where else do you get it? Black market, which is even higher. So which means a consumer ine mulimi ndiye kuti ndapangidwa affect 3 times. Ndi chimene chapangitsa kuti zikwere. So if we have no control ya mtengo wa producer, we have no control. Imene jai akati wakweza ifeso kunoko sitinkapange. Ndiye that is what has happened. Ku subsidy ndi kumene timakhanga kuti tikupereka ka relief. Koma someone outside the subsidy ndi kuti sapangidwa cushion. But I have very good news in terms of a solution to that. So the very good news ndiyonena kuti kuyambira panopa kupita mtsogolo kukhala kufuna kwa mulimi kugula fertilizer odula. Yes.
Why?
Chifukwa chonena kuti tapanga release ma innovation anyuwani a fertilizer otsika mtengo, also highly effective than fertilizer odulayo.
What are those?
So for the last 2 years, ku Minister of Agriculture, suri tangokhala pwe.
Okay.
Nkumangolira.
Yeah.
Kuti forex yavuta, exchange rate yavuta, and so on. No, this is now a very good thing that I can say kuti my team in the Ministry of Agriculture proudly we've managed to achieve.
Okay.
So we've come up with my innovation of fertilizer that will make Malawian farmers extremely happy, rich, have more money, reduce imports, and improve exports.
Okay.
Technology number 1. This is now the basic one. Yodi winali esata kupanga paeka.
Okay.
Imene indi the approval ya automatic organomineral fertilizer. Okay. Muchichewa ndi Mbeya.
Okay.
All right. Organomineral fertilizer is a combination of organic matter and chemical matter.
Okay.
Nde umatenga ndowe za ng'ombe, so we have a formula. Ndowe za ng'ombe, mbuzi, nkhuku, and so on, manyowa, umaphatikiza ndi gaga, komanso phulusa, plus this manyowa, ndi madzi. The moment you blend it, it creates a very rich fertilizer. Moti ukagula thumba limodzi la NPK, umapanga blend, ngopanga matumba 5 a NPK. So you are moving from 1 bag to 5 bags.
Okay.
Then so NPK the same as urea.
So tabanga identify companies
So
that
what we've
producing.
what we've done if is because iyi technology ndionena kuti tikufuna aliyese atha kupanga payeka. Koma if someone wants to be making it commercially, mafomira linapereka.
Okay.
Please go and blend it this way.
Okay.
Chifukwa sikuti aliyese atha kupanga this organomineral. Chifukwa ena alibe ziwero. Alright? Sangakwanitse. Amene ali ndi ziwero pangani zimenezi.
Okay.
Amene alibe ndikuti these companies atomapanga yani blend for them nkumakagula.
So how are you empowering these companies? Chifukwa recently ndinaona magays akubunda anabwera ku parliament, I think makuma ndi community ya agriculture wauza kuti ife ukanga nditapeza solution ya fertilizer.
I'm actually coming there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm coming there.
Tufunika 10 billion. Kuli Preskeni, already they've set up their machine.
I'm coming there.
They have invested about 10 billion somewhere there.
Kuliso must.
Inena
kuti yulini special rocks.
Yapereka kale. How are you trying to empower these people? Because I think focus younger is like we want to run away from a lot of forex that we are wasting with AIP. Exactly. At least because when you look at it, AIP only saves Munantu Ochepa.
Yeah, in fact, here's another interesting thing.
Yeah.
Antuna Monanga, the AIP is the biggest use of fertilizer in Malawi.
I know.
In fact, it's 20%, and it's actually less than 20% of all the fertilizer Malawi.
Yeah.
Less than 20% is AIP.
Okay.
80% and above is all commercial.
All commercial.
Yeah.
Okay. So how are you supporting these?
Yeah, so
there's a solution in there.
Yeah,
Mango but are you supporting these people?
Yeah. Ababa tijedebo bangono.
Okay.
Bama solution eba.
Yeah.
Chifukwa kumene mukupita ako tukupita soko ma problem.
Okay.
Koma notenti apatsa Malawi ma solution amene tapeleka. So the first solution in the mene you make organomineral. You can do it yourself or you can have a company doing it. I will talk about that company. Yachiwiri panopa tili ndi innovation ina imene tayipangaso approve ndiya liquid fertilizer.
Okay.
Botolo limodzi la 500 mils umalisungunula ndi 200 liters of madzi. Okay. All right? Either NPK kapena urea. When you mix it, umapanga spray.
Okay.
And that bottle panopa mukapita ku smallholder mukalipeza at 65,000 kwacha.
Okay.
And that just one
bottle cover
1 acre.
1 acre.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that one bottle 65,000 imene yoyo you do 200 liters, you spray on 1 acre.
Okay.
It means mwaseva ndalama mwachoka pa 130 mwafika pa 65. Mwapanga save transport cost.
Okay.
Chifukwa mukhoza ngogula akaka nkwenda nawo 1 acre imeneyo.
Yeah. Okay.
you've reduced a lot on transport cost. You're also going to reduce on labor. Chifomu kangobanga dilute. Ndi kuti kandi sprayer. Muzingobanga spray.
Okay.
Ndi kuti suzikanda anthu obaya akubita. Ozatira akubwera. So you're reducing on those things. So that innovation is out there.
That product is out there on the market.
Out there, it's on the market.
Kusimohoda.
Smallholder mukaibeza, Paramount mukaibeza, and other companies are bringing.
Okay. It's produced kwatukuno.
We are bringing it, guy, but it's very low in terms of forex.
Okay.
Now, tikangofika pa level ina imene order ikupelekedwa, then we're having the manufacturing company konkona.
Okay.
Chifa company imene mapanga manufacture zimene zizi, I physically went there.
Okay.
And it's a very smart, high-tech production company, and they're coming to Malawi very soon.
Okay.
We'll be doing China soon now. The third innovation, ndi yokuzana ndi ma capsules. Pali ma capsule amene tabangaso approve. It can be NPK, urea, and other fertilizers. It's the same thing. That little capsule, the same thing is you dilute it in 200 liters.
Okay.
And then you also spray.
Wow.
So we have about between 11 and 12 new fertilizer innovations, all of them less than 75,000 kwaja when you are buying them. 75,000 kwaja ndikungogula kwake.
Yeah.
It means you are saving on transport. You are saving on zina ndi zina. Zose jolinga dikandi fertilizer muntu ukafuna ukagula thumba la fertilizer 130,000 kwaja. Uzikhala kufuna kwako.
Have we tested these things on Malawian soil?
Personally, now, if you were to go to my farm, you are going to find Zinduzori. I've used that product.
What do you mean spray?
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, if I do irrigation.
Okay.
Irrigation you go use majani.
Okay, so to these, you said you are coming to these companies that they have shown interest. We've got Mast, we've got Luana.
So let me come there.
Yeah. Before you come, Gugu,
there's
something interesting about innovation. Specifically, if you try to reduce cost, bring efficiency. In most cases, kuli anthu amene business yao ndi IB.
Yeah.
We can't run away from that. Kuli transporter, kuli anthu amene mapanga blogger materials, but and all these people that they take product yompana kwa mulimi kuma locations, right? And sometimes people they cannot promote this, and of course you have come here, which is a good place where we promote it. They will not promote my innovations, dala, because they know kuti we have to
be cut out.
With
this innovation, we'll be out of this.
Bas, ndikamozi kena ungotika nthumba tiwiri kena kwapanga kava 2 acres yako. No people like
exactly. Well, you see, that's the negative side of technology. So innovations and technology, development of technology, will always put people out of business. Will always put people out of employment. But the good thing about technology and innovation, it also helps you to be innovative yourself to find other means of income. So you have to quickly adapt.
I see.
And this has been happening since the creation of the world. People have always been adapting to the changes, and change will never end. Imagine Banova, there's AI. All right. Mukana kawudi mafuna inuyo. Bwezi muka yangu pita pa laptop yanu, I take my image, the whole podcast can be AI generated. All right. It means ndegudi no senu kanchiro ya ataka music. That's just how. That's just how technology is, whether we like it or not.
And there's an interesting element because one of the producers here is new, and where he was working, he was fired because of AI. There's a guy there. He was fired because AI inabanga improve the video editing. So the person who employed him was like, basi
we don't need you anymore.
Mudzakale ndi program ina ya podcast ya mapemphero tizibweretsa anthu ngati amene wako madzapemphera for the misfortunes binakumana nazo.
Okay, so please.
So let's go back to the issue of now. How are we promoting or assisting the companies that are coming up with these innovations? Now, first of all, we are not working in isolation.
Okay.
Right? So my innovation iwa amapangaso originate kuma institution no sanasiana. Akabwera ku Ministry of Agriculture through the Directorate of Research. Tikakhala kuti timaziyesa. Pali ma product ena timayesa cycle imodzi. Nkwapanga approve. Chifukwa these zinapangidwa kale kwina, we are just adopting them. Ndipo ma innovation ene odi they are from scratch ndi kumalawi kunoko. then we need 3 cycles. Komanso sitipanga mara amodzi. Timapanga all the research station sanasiyana. Ndiye tikakhautira panga approve. Ngakale akuluwana apanga ma innovation ena ake, very nice ones, tapanga approve. So what we need to do as a Minister of Agriculture now, ntchito yathu ndi wathandize kuti how can you mass produce these things. Ndiye amabwera ku Minister of Agriculture. So as a ministry ourselves, tilibe chithumba choti tapatse waja. Koma timatha kupeza ndalama pena pake through mu budget moja nkowuza kuti aluwana mapanga product yabwino imene tithandize ku agriculture ifeyo through the kandi mega farm support unit kandi green belt authority kapena through ma project ena ngati agcom tikupatsani here's 10 billion kwacha tapanga ni expand production ya chinthochi. So we are working that with Luwana. Tiliso ndi institution ngati must. They're doing great innovations. They kumubas akupanga soma innovations. Ndiye whatever little that we have timatagwa pangajani, it's like a jump start. There's a word that I've forgotten. Komano, it's like a jump start into mass production. Now we're also very careful. We don't do this kwambiri the private sector.
Of course.
Chifukwa ndiye kuti aliyesa azibwera then ifeyo tisathandize.
But then there's public and private sector commission. Can they...
So PPPC imatha kupanga zimene zija. Koma it means ndiye kuti iwaja they should also bring in their share if it's our share. So ndimene zimayendera. So if Luwana says kuti we want to go into a PPP arrangement, it means that the government will have a share
into the business.
So my arrangement, it's either we have a share
into the,
or we give you a grant.
All that, but for me, I feel like all those arrangements worked because at the end of the day, we're just looking at having fertilizer. I mean, tested by our soil. Kuti akugwira kumchinji akugwira kunkhota madera onse tamuyesa, and this is something that is being produced kwathu konkuno. It's creating jobs kwathu konkuno.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day we are saving ka forex kuti mwina tigula mankhwala kuti mwina sitingapange konkuno.
Yes, so kuthandiza koyamba ndi kumene koko where we can do a PPP kapena a grant koyamba. Kuthandiza kwachiwiri ndi kumene tayamba tsopano kuti tikutenga ma innovation amene wawa tikuweka ma government program. Last year, for the first time ever, after I took the issue of organic fertilizer to cabinet, cabinet approved we can start using organic fertilizer mu AIP. So last year, tinamandi 33,000 farmers who have received organic fertilizer under AIP. Chaka chino tionjezera. So, and then last year May, we've also introduced these organic fertilizers, ndima liquid fertilizers, ku mega farm support unit, kumaso NIF farm import loans.
And the matableti teacher?
No, matableti amba panoba.
Liquid.
So our matablet ndenawa tukayamba panoba. Chifukwa we released these innovations recently. So those are the things that we are now working on as a way of supporting them. Mama tungu abasa ndalama kuti pangane produce and so on. Koma tikunena tikugulani for our farmers. So that is a way of commercially assisting them to expand. So we'll continue to come up with also innovative ways to capacitate them to go into mass production.
Great. Okay, quite interesting. We'll look forward to see zintwizizi zitabwera background ndituti kuchitika, and we
because another issue is mindset change. Anthu ungomva anthu anakhulupirira kuti amuone fertilizer because even you know kuti your ministry is used as a political instrument for most of the things. Like today, anthu ayankhula misonkhano as of today, people have defined intengo fertilizer akazalwa mboma, anthu akupanga, it means they are selling the same odd innovation. You see, well, panopa we are trying to be progressive, and people, I think he had a point, kuti we would want to look into AIP. What is this a sustainable model of developing our country? And that's a different conversation. If you think of what we have already, people are going back, so people are promising the same thing. I think
it's sad. It's actually very sad. Someone panopa can be going nkumakapanga promise anthu zinthu zoti tikusintha kwa agriculture chifukwa as we speak panopa Ministry of Agriculture is going through my reform and the reforms are working wonders. We are migrating people from AIP. All right. Remember, tinayamba ndija 3.7 million,
and then
we've been reducing. Panopa to 1.1. Do you know what we've done to our? We've taken them tabititsaku maloni from input loans zaku NIF. All right. Tadenga awawa ndiye ku farm input loans kuje situkwapa situ matumba awiri afereleza akumatenga matumba ambiri mene akufunira chifukwa chakuti kumeneko ndi kumene akapange production yeniyeni tikwachotsa tikwapititsa ku agriculture commercialization program kumeneko kuli close to 600 billion kwacha akapeza mafereleza mbewu matractor processing and so on zilumeneko tikwachotsa anthu ukuku tikwapititsa ku mega farm. All right. Ndiye munthu azikanena kuti ayi tikuchotsani ukuku tikubwezeretsani tizikupatsani matumba awiri afereleza.
So that's what pains me when it comes to even development. Kuti most of the development imakhala based on kupanga sale chinthu chimene anthu sitiri kuchiwerengera as part of the development agenda.
It's not.
I'm happy now we're talking of 2063. I feel people have to align. So when somebody kubwera kazikhala bwanji aina zapange align.
Look,
of course.
If we want to end poverty and hunger Malawi munomo, ineyo I believe to the bone marrow. Yonena kuti we can never end hunger Malawi munomo or we can never develop Malawi munomo with 2 bags of fertilizer.
No.
Never.
Chifukwa maziwa amene magulira matumba awiri afereleza aja ndi amene timagulira so chimanga.
In the end, magulira so chakula.
Timagulira so we'll spend kamwina 170 billion ku AIP. Next year anthu omwe aja
dodi
maibwereza basi manga cha ulere.
You can't.
Takagula chimanga ku Tanzania 45 billion cha emergency. Give them the means. So I feel like we need to get away with this.
Yes. So not only do we need to get away from 2 bags of fertilizer, but we also need to get away from maize.
Yeah, of course.
All right.
Of course, yeah.
I'm happy ndikuti the listeners panopa ndi bafana organize bo.
Yeah, kwambiri.
All right.
Yeah, true.
Generation yathu iyi ndi generation yoti mafana ake so organize za yimizimizi. Ni magaya yani a progressive. Ni mafana onena kuti iwo amadziwa chimene akufuna moyo mwawo, afuna kuthamangisa dola patawuni, afuna menya ngini yosangalatsa yake yoti moyo wawo
andala amene mabwera kubalalisa muzituza kuti ayi
ndikubalalisani kono ndikuzeni chilungamo.
I think I love the conversation. There was a time I think we had a conversation nani kuti Malawi ndi vuto. We are trying so much to change the bus driver not knowing kuti chili ndi vuto ndi galimoto. You understand? So I think what is trying to say is the change now has to be worked from engine suspension but now when you go to the driver and hold him accountable it will be better off because the innovation that agriculture is working we na bwere aibwezeretse so I think tizaka kuti ayi ono track level yake ndiya situkubwera so kwa ikubu right now we have to make it
so magaya amene akumvera ndikuonera panopa ndi amene Africa zinena kuti no hey zamadumba awiri zanuzo khala nazoni okay kwa agriculture kuli ma innovation onena kuti 1 tiseva ndalama 2 tipanga dola yambiri heavy 3 sitizakhalanso ndi amphawi magayi inoyo munakula musamati sokoneze maganizo kuti bwezeresaso mbuyo if we are progressive generation if tifuna ma innovation awanda amene atilemeretse so that's why ineyo no ndipere ndikachezi ndi mafinance anga tikakambirani ngini yoti watani iwathandiza so ma innovation awawa ino ndiye mundithandize ngati simuzandirana naso ndizapanga bulldozer no magayi kunjawo koko muli kumudzi kamuli mtawuni koma nthawi yonena kuti ulimi tisinthe Malawi muno ndiye ndi inoyi and we need to take a stand kunena kuti tifuna ma innovation awo ndochipa ndothandiza tifuna kuti ngini tipushe pa ground moyo usini
mainstreaming ya innovation iyi ikufunikira and I think as a ministry you can work with Podcastmalawi to make sure good at least even if we have my technical clarity amene angabwere ndikuzamba kuilongosola product and we even have demonstration right and then we take that and put them into my snippets and we spread them across because anthu ambiri nkhani ndi yomweyo yona kuti wina wake is still selling the same old dream when we're supposed to progress and people have complained kuti sizingatheke kuti dziko lapasi tizilephera kupanga innovate sector iyi when other countries amakhala ndi kamalo kakang'ono and they're doing more
with that.
So commendable to your ministry for this innovation, but I think we need more.
Mufuna move innovation ina podcast ina tikapanga pa demonstration farm kufamu kwanga.
Okay. That'll be good.
Okay.
Tikapange kufamu kwanga tizikakamba izizi ngini mukuiona.
Okay. Yeah.
Tizikakamba ngini ikutani ikuoneka koma silizatenga fana wa U48
Okay, Honourable, you've mentioned, I think, agricultural commercialization, Agicom. We've got Make, I think.
Yeah, NIF, Mega Farm Support Unit.
I wanted to understand, because my project in Gatawawa,
sure.
What impact does they have? And didn't the data graduate and this is the track we graduated kandi 10,000 kandi 1,000 kandi 200 from this because we are looking at sustainability ya ma project okay and anaja 200 million ya Agicom komano 2 years palibe so imene chikuchitika background sakuoneka mwina ndrama chanango gawana. Are we able to track all this progress and all this impact imene kuchitika ndi mabungwe ngati awawa?
Yes, we actually do.
Okay.
In fact, the statistics are very promising.
Okay.
Chifukwa as we speak banova, as I said kuti nangasitenjoka pa 3.8 million tafika pa 1.1 million. Ndipo as we speak banova, on a weekly basis number ya anthu amene kupanga benefit ku NIF ikungotani ikungokwera. Number imene kupanga benefit anthu ku Agicom ikungokwera. Number imene ikupanga benefit ku Mega Farm Support ikungokwera. So chifukwa we are pumping in more money and we are graduating more people from subsidy tikupita ku ma program amene wawo. Ndiye the interesting thing ndiye even ku program ukuku not only are we just saying kuti tikupanga for the sake of it, even the amount of money that is going there is a lot.
Serious money.
I think number 45 billion ku NIF. Inakhale kukwera 75. But we are talking about 150 billion.
Okay.
Ku Agicom. Time ndinkayamba ineyo inalipa $95 million. All right. Koma jifuyodi tabanga bwino kambanawo bwino and things are happening on the ground. Ma tractor tagula ma warehouse ma mega farm tabanga and so on through Agicom. Inachoka pa 95. Panopa we are rushing towards $340 is for $360 million US dollars. From 95 to 300 million.
Okay.
The number of people who are also going commercial. So those are the things that we are very happy about. And if you want next time you can say give us the data.
For someone to benefit from this, because most of the times I think I know all those that are connected to politically connected. Agicom, zaku nifi, information, how can one be recruited into the program? Information sima mveka bwino.
Alright. So information imapita kumano palantwena onena kuti naturally alibe nazo ntchito chifoyo aganize zinthu zina koma pali anthu ena amati no ndikapanga apply. But here's one thing that we need to understand. As we stand panopa, the number of applications, let's say for example Mega Farm, the number of people who have registered with Mega Farm, it's over 2,000.
Okay.
With
a minimum of 50 hectares?
20 hectares and above.
Okay.
They're over 2,000.
Okay.
Right.
My application.
Okay. The application ili yonse imakhala ndi cost yake. Ena amangofuna ma input work.
Okay.
Ena amafuna ma input ndi equipment.
Okay.
Ena amafuna ma input, equipment, irrigation and so on. So each application ili ndi cost. And the cost yama application ose awawa, it's over $1 trillion washa. Koma ndrama zimene zimabwera ku Mega Farm, it's either 20 billion, 30 billion. So you compare that with over $1 trillion. Wakapeza kuti anthu amene apange benefit apapa adzakhala ochepa ambiri sapanga benefit ambiri amene sapanga benefit aja chifukwa sanapange benefit they are not going to look at what has come but they're going to say okay, is it because I'm not politically connected? Is it uyuyu ali walandira politically connected and so on. Komano, the main reason, if we had all the money, are we
doing something to get a certain funding? Because we know good anthu awawa ndamene atipange feed anthu awawa ndamene mwina apange produce ma produces that we can export.
Yes.
Are we looking at getting a funding or ma grants? Okay, can we get a grant? Can the $500 million tipitise ku mega farm unit?
Yes.
Kuti akwanise kupanga clear out these applications because we know that these people are the ones that are going to feed Malawi, are the ones that are going to bring forex into this nation. Are we doing that?
Yes, we are. So as we speak, Banova, the reason why AGCOM has moved from $95 million to over $340 million is because we're doing something.
Okay.
That's good example.
So are you connecting AGCOM ndi ma applicants yaku mega farm unit?
Yes.
Okay.
Chifuga some of the beneficiaries yaku AGCOM ndi ma mega farmers.
Okay.
Yeah. So AGCOM is taking care of small, medium, and large-scale farmers.
Okay.
They're able to access Imenaye.
Yeah.
Not only that, but through our development partners, mentally now, some of them are bringing money zupita ku irrigation yama mega farmers. Ena kuma middle and large-scale farmers. So we have the development partners, mentally now, they're pumping in even more money as we speak. Possibly over $40 million. You better agriculture.
Yeah.
So we are getting so much money that is coming in, and we are also distributing a lot of money.
Okay.
The need is huge. Even though there is money that is coming, the gap is still there.
Yeah. But you are able to reduce into my applications.
Exactly. So we're getting we are climbing the mountain one step at a time.
What is the vision with irrigation?
Okay.
Because for such a long time ineo zimandidandaulisa tikama pempherera mvula ya Malawi kuno. Okay? Tikama pempherera mvula ya Malawi kuno idzikha kuti mwina tangotenthedwa kapena zifukwa zina, but zimandidandaulisa kwambiri because honestly you as a believer yourself, I think mukakhalaso pansi mazaona kuti kumano nyanja ija ndeti kutani nayo. Kumano mazi amene ali pansi pathupa poti makwalala mwatumu we've got like zisime. So you dig down mwina 10 meters wapeza mazi. Why is it kuti we've been relying on rain-fed agriculture for such a long time, and what is the vision now with the Minister of Agriculture in terms of irrigation?
For a very long time, we've been relying on rain-fed. It was enough to feed us. So one, the population was small, and whatever we were producing, we were able to feed ourselves. There were actually other times food aid.
Long time watu ayambire pamenepo.
So what we have now done is zindu zingapo zachitika. One, population yakula. But many population ikukwera, land hasn't increased. Number two, climate change has made it difficult to produce more. Ndiye, as a believer in air, I don't blame those who are praying for rain. Even if we are going to do irrigation, irrigation is because if vula doesn't come, even Lake Malawi banga dry. Ndiyekuti we back to square. So ndithokoze kwambiri amene akupemphera.
No, mvula yo imagwa ndithu yonjezera mazi mu Lake Malawi.
Koma tichokepo mangopempherera vula, tiyambe tsopano kupemphera nzeru zoti tigwiritse ntchito madzi amene aja kuti tikhale ndi chakudya chokwanira. Ndi ifeyo pothandizana ndi anzathu amene akupemphera, ifeyo kunduna wa zaulimi takuthamangaso kuti ulimi othirira uja uchitike. Ndi chifukwa chake we've invested almost on a yearly basis tikupanga add close to 6,000 hectares under irrigation. Ndiye chaka chine chiti
these are hectares joti alipo ndithu. Because I think for so long mwina timangotchula nthawi inayo kuti ati ndi malo pakuti ndi malo pakuti.
Nditha kukutengani panopa sikuti aliso yayi tikhoza kupita pa dowa dambo pa madisi. Pamene papa tikupanga the first lot ndi 400 hectares irrigation mudowa.
Okay.
Ndikenako there's another second lot of close to 100 hectares irrigation. Kunalibe china chilichonse koma when you go panopa you're going to see people are starting to ayambakaleso kudzala. Ingakhale isanamalize.
All those hectares it's irrigated, fully irrigated.
Okay. Yeah, they will, and it's actually one of the modern hybrid system.
Okay.
Ndiye tikamaliza pamenepo tikachoka pamenepo tipitaso ku ina sibati nkhorongo kudowa komweko. So dowa we have 2 huge ones. Komano we are going in every district. Ndiye palima irrigation project amene ali agent a community. All right. There's some individuals are also going to irrigation. Tuwabangaso support 20 hectares, 100 hectares, and so on. Tuwathandizaso. Ndi ndrama zikabwera zikupita koseko cholinga. As of now, we have over close to 400,000 hectares. It can be put under irrigation. The money is going into that.
How much hectares have we covered, Panoba Mwina?
I think chaka chinochi we were targeting a minimum of 45,000, a minimum chaka chinochi to put it under irrigation. But we can, if we have enough resources, we can go beyond that. For on a monthly basis, to go and hectare judge, either 5 hectares or 10 hectares and so on. Ndiye tukudani tukupanga zimene jazz. And once everything goes well, we'll have Shire Valley transformation, which is 45,000 hectares, which is under irrigation.
So our one day akumakhala somwina ali under mega farm unit, because I think ndinaona recently kuti you were calling in my applications why many ali irrigated land kuti they should apply. Many 20 hectares irrigation. So is this the addition that you're talking about?
Yeah, in fact in my project osanasiyana ena ali ku NIF. NIF ikupereka so masolar pump panopa, solar pump, fertilizer and so on kwa alimi to go towards irrigation. Mega farm support unit is doing that. And Agricom is also doing that. Ndedi diso ndi azatwa IFAD akubweraso to give us more money into that. There we have different projects that are all going into irrigation.
Mano ndionena kuti at the end of the day we can sit down as a ministry and kunena kuti tirindi mwina 40,000 hectares. Yonena kuti period ya kandi March to October abanga produce this tonnage.
Yes, we do.
Ya ma categories of crops awa.
Yeah, so 45,000 iyo ndinachula for that is what we are earmarking. Kuti if we have done the entire 45,000, they would at least we'll have over 200,000 tons of chakudya. Chifa kutupanga both maize and rice and other crops in my irrigation. And we're not just planning on doing it once. Mu May, it means we'll do cycle number 1, then cycle number 2, then that's how we are doing it.
Wow, quite interesting. I mean, I think we are looking forward to that. Kuti tikale dziko lonena kuti sitingokhala ayi. Okay? Chakudya chilipo because chakudyachi chimazagwisidwa ntchito nthawi ya campaign, which is not on. Sitimayenera kwathu kunoko kuti tizipangana campaign kuti ndzakupasani chakudya. I think we need to set up my systems onena kuti people will be able to farm. Ndikumazipasa zakudya zawo ngati mungabwere kuti mutipanga campaign tuzeni zinthu zina.
Exactly. So you know that's why I like if you follow my speech the president Panoba, you are going to hear him over and over and over again. Sakamba zonena kuti tidzakupatsani chakudya. He is always talking about productivity, commercialization, mechanization, all right, for income generation, import substitution, export, forex generation. So panopa ifeo go yatu ndionena kuti tikamakamba za ulimi tisamakamba za ulimi kuti tutana ndi njala. All right, ifeo go yatu sipotana ndi njala ena cause mana kuti tufuna tipange ulimi kuti titane ndi njala. Ifeo we've gone way beyond that. If we've gone ulimi kwa ife ndi business. All right, ulimi situfuna kuti munthu azikapanga ulimi kuti azipeza chakudya cha lero. No, if as a government tufuna kuti mulimi azipanga ndalama more than they have ever done before. So you are not going to hear us kumakanena kuti ifeyo zisankho zikubwerazi mukadzati vote laso atizonetsetsa kuti tikupatsani chakudya chokwanira. So no, that is creating dependency syndrome and perpetuating poverty. All right. If we are not interested in handouts, we are not. The most important gift we can give Malawians is dignity.
Yeah.
So we do not want to rob someone's dignity by handouts.
Yeah.
Ndi chinthu chomvetsa chisoni kwambiri kuti daily munthu uzikhala wopemphetsa. All right?
True.
No, make sure that we give Malawians back their dignity by providing the means to fend for themselves.
True.
That's why tunena kuti chokani ku subsidy kumene kuku tikuchotsani ulemu chifukwa chaka china chilichonse mukwanyoza mafumu mukwanyoza atsogoleri anu azibamba azimayi mukumapanga spend the whole day ukadikira ti matumba tiwiri tafeteleza toti sili kusunga nsoni chaka chonse cha thunthu. Let's not celebrate people living in poverty, but true. Let's give Malawians back their dignity by providing resources to fend for themselves, by coming up with innovations that are going to develop their lifestyle. At the end of our terms in office, or even when we go to heaven, we should be able to be proud to say, ambuye anthu anu aja nathandiza wachotsa pa mphawi uwu anakafika apa chifukwa cha nthawi imene munandipatsayi. Komano tisakapite kumwamba nkumakanena kuti nakatumikira anthu anali mu mphawi uwu nasaso mu mphawi umene uwu azilonga zinkandiyendera zinthu. That is morally wrong. And I think that is not what God has allowed us to be in these positions for. Koma pafunika kuti anthu moyo wawo usinthe, and we can only change people's lives in Malawi munomu by providing them the means to be independent. We should not be afraid of losing positions by giving the dignity back to someone. In fact, we are going to be re-elected in our positions chifukwa munthu tambwezeretsa munthu wake komanso ulemu wake. That is what we need to remember.
Ulimi ababa ukupinduliradi mulimi weni. What you are trying to do, because I think for such a long time also makateozi akhala umapindula kwambiri.
Ndi chifukwa chake we are I use the word reforming the agriculture sector. We are reforming the agriculture sector kuti zipangizo zizipita direct kwa mulimi kapena mulimi azipanga accesses zinthu zija without ziyango pakatipa. So if we are determined to continue my reform amene wawa, even if our goal is to make the majority happy and fewer people. If they're going to be angry, let them be angry as long as the majority of Malawians are happy. And I will never apologize for that. And for me, my goal is to do what the president has told me to do, is to make sure kuti Amalawi akhale odzimira paokha. Ndi chifukwa chake we are doing these reforms unapologetically. And that is why we're coming up with these innovations, kuti mulimi apindule. And that is why we're doing all what we can, kuti even the commodity prices for them when they're going to sell, at least they are recovering the cost of production and come up with at least a 30% profit margin on that.
Okay, fine. I wanted to agree with you about dignity. And I think these things are always online. People will check them out. I think we have discussed this by platform Panoba. So now kuti people forget kuti muntu amene okumuyimirira umakhala kuti you want to serve them. Right? You're not trying to save as SAV, come serve. So serving someone is an act of honor. You want to help the person. Akuthandizidwa in a way that akupangidwa serve, not save. That's one. Two, people, we have argued here kuti it seems kuti ndale zachi Africa zimapangidwa pa expense ya kuvutika wa munthu. Therefore people are happy when munthu akamavutika. Therefore they will make sure kuti anthu azivutikabe chifukwa chokuti that is the only way you can find a talking point for a re-election. And it becomes bad. I like the position. I think the first time the president came through, the narrative was the same. Pankani full security. Kuti he's having that kind of moonshot. So you do not sell a dream that is muzija. No, you have to sell the dream kuti you will be self-reliance. So you push that ahead. You sell that kind of a high lip, like a big lip, not necessarily you know what, I'll make sure I know. No. It has to be beyond that. It has to be the dignity of people. And people have been robbed of that dignity for a long time because people have used their plight, their challenges as a talking point for a next election. And this is painful. So you're talking to young people that right now are angry. I say, no, enough is enough. We can't be talking the same narrative over and over again. So we have to progress. We have to be innovative, and we have to allow people to now transform from the current state to a now an empowered state, which is the current discussion that we're having. Amazing.
Yeah, true. It's quite amazing. I mean, tikuyanga na Malawi idionena kuti tisamalike tithandizike, and people should not come to us ndikumatiuza zakudya ndikumapanga campaign and all that. We've already talked about that. Mumakhala mumatulusa mitengo ya mmene zinthu zingagulilidwe. We were talking last week about fodya. Do we have power on mitengo ya fodya as Malawi? Timakhala ndi mphamvu, because I think the discussion imabwera ponena kuti kangati anzathu ku Zambia kandi ku Zimbabwe amagulidwa fodya awo mwina pa mtengo okwererako. Pali zifukwa zina zimene mwina sitikuzidziwa zimene zimapangisa kuti mitengo isiyane kapena isiyasi kuti tikalowa mu room yonena kuti tikapanga negotiate mitengo. Mwina we are not that
So here's an interesting thing about mitengo. Okay, tikamba context ya mitengo ya fodya. Chifukwa timatulutsa so mitengo ya mbewu zina. Let's talk about mitengo ya fodya. So mitengo ya fodya ija kuti ituluke. Sikuti ife timangokhala kuti tipange chakuti. No. Ndi process. Process tili ndi template. Template imene iyi ndiyo kuti alimi amaidziwa, ma-association amaidziwa, ma-company ogula amaidziwa. Aliyese, it's very transparent. Very transparent. Ndiye chimene timamba ndifeyo ku Tobacco Commission. Timakalowetsa tsopano ma input cost. Alright? Labor chaka chino inali mwakuti. Fertilizer, mankhwala, masaka, transport khala mwakuti, zonse timatani timazilowetsa. Tikazilowetsa timapita kwa association kuti ifetu taona izizi iniyo maganizano ndotani ayamana kuti apa ndizoona apa mwalakwitsa apa mwike mwakuti apa mwakhoza mwalakwitsa tagwirizana tagwirizana tosawiri tinyamuka tipita ku makampani ogula.
So that's Tobacco Commission and the alimi.
Yes. Koma facilitator ni Tobacco Commission. So timati tikapanga tokha kaye timapita kwa alimi. Amene amapanga represent ndi ma association. Akatipatsa input yawo timaputenga zawo ndi zathu timapita ku makampani ogula fodya. Iwo ajaso akadani akaona. Ndi iwo ajaso amaona kuti iwo ajaso amakhalanso ndi ma input ena ake amene amatani amapangidwa so consider. So tikatenga maganizo samene wawa ndeso pano timabwerera ifeyo ngutsapanga release. So that's why tikapanga release siudzava association ikudandaula. Siudzava company yogula fodya ikudandaula. Chifukwa imakuti it's yani consultative.
Kuti akudziwa. They've been knowing kuti
akudziwa. Ndiye tsopano tikapanga release zimapita kwa anthu. Kuti chaka chino awawa ndima recommend. Now here's another thing. These are recommended minimum prices. Recommended. All right. It doesn't mean kuti ogula uja azigula pamene pajapa. Komano we are recommending kuti fodya type iyi asadutse less izizi. Ndiye chimene chimachitika ndi chakuti kunsika kuja kuli alimi ndiye kuli mavenda. Kuli alimi kuli mavenda. Mavenda ambiri nkhani ya fodya saidziwa. Iwo chimene amapanga is amangopita ukatenga fodya uja nkubwera ku auction floor. Cholinga iwo aja they should make a profit. Ndiye chifukwa chakuti fodya uja samudziwa ndi amatenga fodya kwa mulimi uyo. So apezeka kuti ali ndi 7 different types of alimi amene fodya wawo wosanasiyana wa mera wa samalidwe mosanasiyana amakamphatikiza. Akamphatikiza akamudinda amabwera ku auction floor. ndi amana kuti ine foja wanga ndi uyuyu ndipo ndikuganiza kuti mundigula pa $2.50 ife tikapita kumene kujaku timatsegula bero ija timachotsa pakati amakondobisa pakati ndi chimaphathulidwa nkutenga zimabando zingapo nkuzibweretsa pamwamba kuti timuone kuti foja uyu ndiona anali mkatimo ndiye ifenso timadziwa zakuti foja uyu quality yake ndi yakuti ndi kumakhala ndi grading process kaye anthu asanayambe kunena kuti tigula ndi chifukwa chake mati mukapita makapeza kapepala kapepala ako pamakhala grade ya fojayo ndiye makampani aja amabwera amati akaona grade manager amati kuti grade iyi even though minimum price ndi $2.50 koma ndikuona ngati kuti mina grade iyi chifuti ndamukonda nimugula pa $3.50 chifuti bero lija ndilabwino alright ndiye pamakafika bero lina limene wapanga mix ndiye grade yake chifuti wapanga mix ija amayitsitsa akeka dola payani $1.50 ndiye venda akaona zimene zija venda akaona pali $1.50 iyeyo anapanga bank kuti agulira pa $3 definitely alira alira not chifukwa chonena kuti sanagulidwe pa mtengo wabwino definitely akulira kuti sanagulire pa mtengo wabwino koma in the first place wapanga grading molakwika so chimene timapanga ifeyo ndichonena kuti if you know kuti sunapange grade bwino asabwere apite ukampangeso iwe uli ndi ufulu wopanga withdraw but you cannot force a buyer kugula foja wako oyipa pa mtengo wokwera just withdraw it kampangeso grade chifukwa ukakhala kuti foja ndi oyipa and ife tinaphweketsanso ntchito iyi poyamba mabero anali 100 kgs pano pati unena kuti utobweretsa bero ya 25 kgs wafoja oyipa yekhayekha tikugulabe pa mtengo wotsika koma wabwino uja mwike bero lake tikugule pa mtengo wabwino koma venda akukana akulira kulira kuja kwakukulu ndi venda amene akupanga mask kuti ndi mulimi koma you will not find mulimi genuine mulimi amene amatha grouping grading and packaging akulira kuti mtengo
so mwanjira ina alimi athu they know and they are satisfied with the prices alimi athu
mulimi genuine mulimi
they know about the prices because they were involved in the prices as an association and they know what the commission knows and then they are okay with
it. And I want to agree with this discussion so kuti you know kuti ma sectors ambiri kakusidi tekana kuti alimi kugulisani mbewu zanu chani anthu amene amakhala kumene kuchaka makagulisa kwambiri samakhala alimi amakhala mavenda and it's okay you can be mu business manager yanga middleman utokhala munthu koma I think the best you can do is not to cheat because chimene chali nachuluka kwambiri ku Malawi ndi bodza ndi kunamizana kuchoko kuti anthu amakhala ndi amabwisa product yoti akapange trick buyer koma buyer so ndi munthu ochenjera naye so ndi ndalama zake
koma sunga pange force
akugula ku Zambia akugula uku akuziwa ku ubwino ndi kuipa kwa product yomweyo and I think anthu amene amakonda kupanga chipongwe or kuipisa mbiri ya Malawi ndi anthu amene amapanga trick the system now anthu akamazabwera uzaona kuti ku Malawi kuno nonse ndinu anthu oyipa koma pali anthu ena ake amene they are not faithful amene maika doti maika chani
and chaka chinochi the reason why akulira kwambiri iwo aja anachalira amanena kuti poti chaka chinochi ndi chaka cha zisankho ndi kuti boma lakakamiza wawa kuti agule kwambiri ndi zimene tipange tingopitisa zifoja zathu zoyipa kena kuti kakapanga force boma kuti awauza gule kwambiri atigula baba we still make money in the name of kuti ndi chaka cha chipani ifeyo would rather kukwiyitsa mavenda 200 other than kuluza the entire market ya Malawi chifukwa cha anthu 200 ifeso ndi reputation yoti tipange protect Malawi kuti foja waku Malawi quality yake ndi yabwino umboni wake ndi uwu other than tisangalatse anthu 200 powagula foja wawo oyipa amene kunjaso anthu sakagula in the end kunja kumene amagula fertilizer amajeni foja akanena kuti ku Malawi foja wawo ndoyipa sitipitaso would rather go ku Zambia, Mozambique, Tanzania and so on. And who's going to be the loser? Ndi fair. First is ndi ntchito yoti is a reputation yathu ngati Malawi.
In 60 seconds where do you see the agriculture as a ministry kumaso as an industry ku Malawi kunoko kusogoloko mumafuna kuti titafika pati? Conclude.
The goal here agriculture ku Malawi kunoko is commercialization. We want to see people understand the importance of commercial agriculture. Whereby akadzuka azidziweza kuti this is a business.
Yes. Okay.
So they wake up in the morning, go and work in the field, expecting to make money all year round, not just once a year. So what I would really want is to see a commercially driven agriculture sector that focuses on farming, which is a business for the income generation, export substitution, value addition, as not export substitution, but import substitution and forex generation. The moment we stick to Malawi's Vision 2063, we've nailed it.
Are we on a good track? Are we going?
We're actually on a good track.
Okay.
We've made tremendous progress moving there.
Okay.
If we didn't have Cyclone Anna, Gombe, Freddy, and Idai, zimene zija sizikanati tikanakhala kuti patsogolo kwambiri. But zinati sokonezi it destroyed infrastructure which ndalama zimene tikanapita ndi ulimi kutsogolo we ended up going to rehabilitate. Then now we are going back.
All right.
And then we ended up having El Nino dry spells. That's why we are investing a lot in irrigation.
Wow.
So when is part 2?
Part 2 iwachitikira ku field. Mwina tisankhe scheme ya kukalonga atu kapena.
Mufuna Malawi siri. Zerifal kusitas.
Mwina tisankhe scheme ya kuchikwawa kapena tikaone kuchipea. But I think we've got a lot of things to talk about as agriculture. And this is just a snippet ndituka what is happening.
Yes. And what we need to do, nangasi magaya amene kuti ndachinyamata.
Yes.
Zikozo klaso bunose kuti part 2 ya 2 tibide kukacheza ndi mafana onena kuti ali mu agri business. Ine ndikamakala nkhula azikapangira umboni. In fact azikala nkhula ine ndizikangopinda manja ndize kuti I told you. I told you.
I think we need to do that.
We can do a live one. So I think the best way will be
we'll do that.
We'll
talk after this. I think we really need to do that because I think ndakaduma nena kuti nthawi zambiri mwina timangola nkhula mwina background palibe, but I think we need in fact do we have people that are doing this? Do we have this hatred? Do we have those kind of things? Because sidufuna kuti tidzingola nkhula kapena muzingola nkhula zinthu zoti palibe. But we want evidence. We want people that are benefiting from agricom, nifi, chani. We want to see them. And osati anthu oti takocha kumbali kuti mukala nkhule zaku. No, but we want to see people that are doing these things. And I would encourage ndithu kuti achinyamata, this generation, we want us to get involved. Zonse zimasomphenya amene akukambawa ndi masomphenya onena kuti afunika ife to carry them forward. And we are here to spark these conversations, drive these narratives, and we looking forward to a Malawi amene chakudya sizakhala nkhani ya kampeni ayi. Bad zakhala chinthu chonena kuti aliyese amakhala nacho kunyumba kwake each and every day aliyese akudya. It was good to have you. We'll have you kusogoloku zosezo tikambirana bwino. We want you here more. But otherwise, guys, it was us, the number one podcast in the land. Jina Geoff anali pamene banane nangana jina Roy mfana wa AI so anali pano. Otherwise, Cardinal Henry was here and we had the minister. Thank you so much, guys. Let's engage, let's like, let's subscribe and keep watching our podcast for more and more of interesting episodes. We're out.